trader, a market machine. Bank moves, he mimics, he plays their game. Near a version, glory is his claim to fame. Market structure king, watch him do his thing. Pips and points, the profits sing. Trading like the banks, he's in control. Leads the master filling his bankroll. Leads the master filling his bankroll. His mind's a map of supply and demand, turning charts to gold with a steady hand. Forex flows like rivers in his plan. Bases bow to the market man. Break out at the open, the strategy's tight. Position for the swing, he wins the fight. Risk is measured, the balance precise. Leads on the rise, he rolls the market structure king, watch him do his thing. Pips and points, the profits sing. Trading like the banks, he's in control. Leads the master filling his bankroll. Lead the master filling his bankroll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Leads on the charts. Yeah, watching the flow, candles rise up, then they drop down low. Pips in his pocket, he's stacking it tall. Market structure trader, he's got it all. Open and range, it's the key to the game. Breakout moves, profits calling his name. Name. Market structure leads the king. Trading waves, let the profits sing. Mean reversion, he's locked and loaded. Like the banks, his strategy's coded.
Afternoon. Sorry. I just had a massive sneezing fit just before I came on. We just had a new front door fitted and there's dust everywhere. And obviously I've brought it all upstairs with me by the looks of things. Can't stop sneezing. So if I carry on sneezing, sorry about that. Afternoon. How are we all doing, Andrew? So let's see how many people have worked out the clocks have changed. Interesting. So, yeah, obviously, if you're not aware, the clocks changed in America this weekend, which means that we are now in the UK trading at 1:30 open, not 2:30. So everything's moved forward an hour for about 2 weeks, and then it all switches back to normal. So we have this interruption every year for a couple of weeks where it's all wrong, basically. So if you're using the ORBEA, if you're not here, you don't know about it, and it won't trade properly today. But otherwise, you need to change it on your broker. So my broker is now 15:30 is the New York Open instead of 16:30. And then in 2 weeks' time, it will switch back to 16:30 again. So some brokers change the time. Some brokers don't change the time. So if you're on a broker which doesn't change the time, you don't need to adjust settings. If you are, you do. But you'll only know that by visually looking at your chart. So, excuse me. I'm really snotty now. There's your 5-minute ORBs about to go in the next minute. So not very big ranges at the open there, as you can see. Price action not moving a massive amount. We've got big movement across the markets today. Obviously, oil gapped up immensely to $113 a barrel, just short of that. It gapped up and opened up at 105. We closed on Friday at 88. So huge gap up on oil. There's a big sell-off came in this morning, and it's been sort of grinding down. It's starting to push down a little bit at the moment. So there's a potential, I think we might get that gap fill done on oil today, or at least come and retest the previous week's high. That's your low of the day so far, which it's testing now. But massive gap up again on oil, obviously with the Strait of Hormuz shut. There's nothing much we can do about that. Oil flow is just stopped. Iraq have just come out today and said the Kirkuk crude oil flows to Turkey have stopped today. So everything's shutting down basically from oil. So I can't see any reason why this isn't going to pop up to 150 to 200 a barrel. There's no reason at all. If it carries on, obviously if it doesn't carry on, no problem. But if it does, that's what's going to happen. So I'm long on oil, still long. Short on the Dow. Just triggered the 5-minute ORB short. So looking at the indices today, we are... So DAX, first of all, today was a bit of a mess at the open, but we got a profit in the end. So the 5-minute ORB, which is there, it broke short twice. So we broke short, stopped out, then broke short again and stopped out same bar. So we had basically 15 minutes of accumulation down at the lows at the open today. So double stop out on the shorts. The long then broke straight to target within 10 minutes. And then the second part, I had my TP adjusted on the second part to last week's low, which is here. As we pulled back from last week's low, we basically just tried to make a new high and failed, and it pulled back. So I moved my stop underneath the moving average on the second part of the trade, which got taken out, and now it's gone up and hit target, obviously, because I'm out of it. So so we have just hit last week's low. So just watch it if you're in the DAX at the moment, because that might be a reaction point if you are long DAX still. But so yeah, very small profit on the DAX this morning. But profit is a profit. So we see where we go at the open here. So yeah, US indices. We are gap down situation today. The gaps today are absolutely vast. They're way bigger than normal. So, if you look at the DAX's gap today, when it loads that data, we are 813 point gap. We've only had one day in the last 5 years where we've had a gap that size. So statistically, there's nothing to go on as to whether or not gap fills will or won't happen. S&P 500 today, we're 153 points down. Again, 41% chance. But if you look at how often we get these sizes of gaps when we gap down below previous sessions, there's not enough data really to look at and analyze to say there's any certainty of anything happening today. So 569 points down on the NASDAQ. It's a 50-50 shot as to whether we fill it. Same with the Dow. We're down 569 there on the Dow. Sorry, we're down 992 points on the Dow. That didn't reload. Again, way bigger than normal gaps. So your guess is as good as mine as to what the hell's going to happen today. Market is breaking short. So obviously that's where we closed out, gap down. It's attempted to do a fill, but we got stuck at last week's low, which is Friday's low. So obviously we hit a brick wall and sold off of it. It's tried, as you can see, 4 times now to get through that. Can't get through it. So market obviously wants to go bear. There's no way people are buying stocks in this market at the minute. They're scared to death. S&P 500, same thing. We haven't even tested the lows yet. And the NASDAQ, again, gap down, haven't managed to get back to those lows yet at all. So, market is in scare mode, but we'll see what happens. We may well get a push up. We'll see if they can rally enough to do it. But, when you get a gap down situation like this, of this size, and we looked at this in the member stream this morning, really, when you've got a gap of that magnitude, the market either does one or two things. It either accumulates and we go into rotation for a day while we're figuring out what the hell to do next, or we just get a gap and go. So if it's a market scared gap, then it will just gap and go. Today, it looks like rotation. Although if you look at the US indices today so far, it's kind of pulling back rather than rotating. But a rotational day basically would be something along those sorts of lines. So if we can come back down and retest that Globex low and bounce off of that today, that puts us into rotation. So that is likely what I think will happen today. So short bias, really. Same with the NASDAQ. Rotational move back down into the Globex lows to retest that low, which is where we pulled back. There's a lot of unfinished business up at these levels. But, it's going to be a difficult move to get all the way back up there. The market might be able to do it, but it's a long way to go. So we will see where we go today. At the moment, we look like we're trying to break short, but there doesn't seem to be a massive amount of conviction for shorts either today so far. So we are short on both, but we'll see if we get a continuation. Rest of the market, oil has obviously done its average daily range today, its average weekly range today, and its average monthly range today. This move is obviously unparalleled. We've not seen a gap of that size forever. So yeah, there's a huge gap up. As I said, I'm long on this at the moment. This trade is up about 62k. My other account I've got up, which is about 5 or 6k up. Unfortunately, Forex has suspended trading now. There is no quick trade buttons. Can't trade it. So oil across a lot of brokers has been suspended because there's no liquidity to get trades on. Obviously, with a trade, you need to have two parties involved. If I want to buy it, someone's got to sell it to me. No one in their right mind right now is selling oil. Everyone's buying oil. So brokers are not going to take the other side of your trade. So yeah, you're stuffed, basically. There are still brokers out there accepting trades on it. I know someone said today that IC Markets is still accepting, IG are still accepting trades. But I know a lot of brokers, a few people have contacted me saying their brokers are not accepting new orders either. So there's no liquidity out there. I don't know. I haven't looked at the futures market as to whether that's trading or suspended. I imagine it's trading, but it might be, they might have limited short orders on it. I don't know. It varies. But yeah, so I can't take any more size. I've been trying to take trades on this morning on both accounts. In fact, I've got 3 accounts, but I can't get in. So I think I'm just going to leave the positions as they are. My average is 73 or 74, basically, on that account. The other account is 85 or something. Afternoon, Timber. How are we doing? Doesn't matter what my average is. If you're in it, stay in it. Yeah. So forecasts on this at the moment. If you look at the last Ukraine move, which is there. So that is the Ukraine spike, something like that. And then you look at what we've done here so far, we're far beyond it. Yeah, so we've gone far beyond the big spike from the Ukraine conflict. This high here at 130, basically, is the Ukraine high. Terminal update. Yeah, so I'm up 4,800 on the other account with an average of 86.5. So I've got an average in there, and the other account I've averaged in sort of round about the middle of that block. So yeah, so we're way beyond it. So your next target to the upside on this is going to be that all-time high at 130. Not all-time high, but decade. I think it's a decade high or something like that. I've only got data going back to 2012. So 15-year high, whatever. It's basically, we haven't got up there before. But they're calling now, some of the analysts, for $200 on this. If that Strait of Hormuz stays shut, there will be no oil supply worldwide. And if there is no oil supply worldwide, obviously, if you've got oil, you sell it for what the hell you want to sell it for. And if people need it, they will buy it. So, well done, Canada. You'll be fine if you're Canadian. You've got loads of it. So, yeah, just try and get in if you can. And it's the sort of trade that I personally am watching for a partial if we can get to 130. But I really want to hold this. These, like I said last week, these are the types of trades that pay the mortgage for the year. These are the types of trades that put you from 110, 150% year to a 200-300% increase year. If you can get into them and hold them, these are the trades that you remember, because you're in them and they will pay you an awful lot of money. But they are incredibly hard to hold, because you haven't got a precedent to look back on, and you have no idea of where it's going to go. So you basically have to take the money that you think is available. These are the times where you actually sit down and you listen to Bloomberg and you listen to the analysts and you weigh it all up. And I've had AI this morning trawling Reddit, trawling all sorts of websites. It's been all over Bloomberg, all the news outlets, Financial Juice. It's been over everywhere, basically. Getting together any information on oil and any forecasts from anybody on oil. I don't care who they are. I just want to know roughly what forecasts are out there. And the average forecast seems to be coming in around about 165. So it tells me that the 150 target is pretty much a given. The $200 a barrel target, which some people are floating at the moment, seems to be gaining traction. But whether that's gaining traction because people have heard it and people like myself are saying there's a target out there of 200, therefore it gets spread, I don't know. But my initial target of $100 a barrel, obviously we popped that by $15 this morning without even batting an eyelid. So I think this is one of those opportunities where you just have to sit there, shut your eyes, hold it, and try not to look at it too much, because every time it pulls back, it scares the life out of you. When you're seeing your P&L drop from like 65 grand down to 58 grand in an hour, it's scary. But every time you see it pop back up to 62k, you're like, this could get to 150 very easily. It's one of those trades. But even my little account over here that I'm looking at, it's sitting in 5 grand of profit. I'm looking at that and thinking, well, that's 6 months mortgage. It's a little account. It's lovely. So these are the ones you want. How many lots? Don't know. 5, 2.5. Like that. No, hang on. What are we? Yeah. Don't know. Yeah, 2.5. On that, yeah. So it depends on what your account is, basically what your leverage is and everything. But on that little account over there, it's 50.5 lots, half a lot, basically. I was just looking at my swap costs on it. Positive swap, is it, on oil? Oh, it's done that again. Oh, it's down there, look. Thing is, hate it. You've got multiple monitors on the go, right? I right-click, open up the specification on it to see what the swap costs and everything are, and it opens a window somewhere. But it doesn't open a window in front of the chart. It opens a window somewhere on one of your monitors, probably hidden away. And you probably saw that one was stuck all the way down there. Yeah, so $6 long swaps. So it's going to cost to hold this That's the only thing we've got to bear in mind. It's not going to be the cheapest thing in the world. Right, so Dow and NASDAQ both pulling back. So we've tapped into last week's low for the second time on the NASDAQ, and another rejection going in there. A bit of a rejection out of that propulsion move from the Globex session, but it seems to be coming back down again now across both. So it's a fairly decent sell-off this morning. If you look at oil at the moment, we're inside bar on the last 4 hours. So that's an initial profit take move we had this morning. They tried to continue it, but obviously it did get bought up. And now we're inside bar. So potentially this, if you're trying to get into this, you could draw a line under that double bottom as a tight entry. A conservative entry underneath the previous week's high, which will probably get bought up if we get back to it. But just got to look for ways to scale into these things, unfortunately, and it's quite tricky when obviously they're moving so quick at the minute. Okay, Dow just put in new session low. NASDAQ, we've just put in a new session low as well. I was short oil overnight. Short overnight. Took until 10 a.m. this morning to get out. Yeah, don't short it. Supply demand, commodities. Yeah, there is no supply. There is still demand. There is nowhere for this price to go but up. Especially when you got people like Iraq coming out constantly. I looked at the news this morning, and NATO's getting involved now. They've just tried to hit Turkey again. I looked at the news this morning, and I was scanning through for oil, WTI, crude, everything to do with it. And basically it was like, this has been hit, that one's been hit. And I was like, yeah, you keep hitting those oil refineries, because the less of it there is, the more expensive it's going to be. With things like Iraq coming out today and saying we've stopped supplying now, and everyone turning their wicks down on production because they can't store it anymore. If you can't store it, you can't produce it. If you can't produce it and then the storage gets blown up, you're stuffed. The only way this stops and oil drops is if it stops, basically, and Iran just go, we give up. Or that Iran turn around and say, do you know what? We're not going to touch anything in the Strait of Hormuz. It's a safe zone. Yeah. And all of our proxies are not going to touch it either. That's the only way this gets fixed short term. So NATO have just intercepted another missile heading to Turkey. So that's the second time they've tried to hit Turkey now, NATO country, which is getting us ready basically to enter the fight. And Kuwait has just summoned the Iran ambassador for the second time. I'd imagine he's probably ignoring that phone call at the moment. Yeah, I mean, Iran are not backing down, are they? We use super heavy missiles in the latest wave of attacks. So news-wise today, we haven't looked at the news at all, have we? There is no news today. There is no news tomorrow. First news we've got actually this week is on Wednesday. So we've got CPI for the US dollar, which is potentially forecast to slightly tick up. Afternoon outro. That slight tick up basically could strengthen the dollar a little bit more. Obviously, the dollar is going up. Canadian is going up because they're commodities driven with oil. So there's potential for more US dollar strength this week, midweek, depending on obviously what that news comes out at. And then towards the end of the week, we've got the Canadian unemployment. If the Canadian unemployment rate does go up, that might pause the oil move a little bit. But, you know, that is quite high. 6.6% is the forecast. It's going in the wrong direction for Canadians, isn't it? Although actually looking at it, it's been up at 7%, so it's actually coming down. But yeah, it's not great, is it? Unemployment over there. Been on a gradual sort of increase for the last couple of years. So I'm not convinced at the moment that any of this lot is going to pay any attention to markets. With what's going on at the moment, the likelihood is you're going to see movement based on what's going on in Iran and what Trump says rather than news. Inflation, if this carries on, is going up. So we don't care what these numbers come out as, they're going up. Yeah. Interest rates are going up. We don't care what these numbers say, they're going up. Yeah. If oil, which is what powers everything and is the most cost proportionate part of inflation, is going to go up, it's all going to go up. So there's not a lot you can really do about it at the minute. Markets are going to come down and commodities are going to go up, basically, until this thing sorts itself out. So news, I don't think really matters anymore at the moment. But what level am I looking at to exit on oil? So I'm going to take a partial at 135, which is the Ukraine peak. So that is your I haven't got data going back any more than 2012, but that's the highest it's been at. I think 150 is on the cards, potentially more, if it continues. But like I said to some of the members this morning, I'm watching this like a hawk. It's on my monitor over here permanently. And I will be watching it by the hour, basically, because if there is any news that comes out, I've got Financial Juice over here and I've got my chart over there. If I see anything to do with potentially that Strait of Hormuz opening, I'll shut the lot and get out and take whatever I've got. I can always get back in, but I've got such a good price on it at 73. I got in really well, and I'm just going to let it ride. Yeah. So you're looking at, if you go back and look at the last Ukraine move and what happened, go back way in here. If you want to look at how it unfolded, which is obviously going to give you, it's the only clue we've got as to potentially what could unfold this time round. So the way that unfolded was we had a big bull move. Yeah. And then we had a second bull move followed by a retracement. And then we had another bull move and a gap up. So that gap there is kind of like what we've seen today. Yeah. But what we haven't had is the run up before the gap up. We've had the straight big day go in and then an immediate gap up. So that was immediate panic, pipelines closed, and then naturally, don't worry too much. Pipelines open, but we've got to redirect supply. You can't buy it in Europe anymore. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. So that's why we had this kind of accumulation and rally. This was an immediate knee-jerk reaction from the market. It's like panic. Oh, actually, it's not as bad as we thought. This time round, it's panic. Jesus, 35% of the world's oil can't get out anymore. There's no, don't worry about it. It's not as bad as we thought. It's bad, isn't it? So I'm not convinced that this is going to even fill this gap. I mean, it might do, but look at the size of this candle today compared to Friday. We put in 189 points today, and we put in 127 on Friday. So this is the market panicking, trying to get itself back to the unfinished business down here. People that shorted it on Friday, massively underwater at the moment. So you've got to try and dig your way out of that, but you're not going to find it easy to get down there. There's going to be buyers everywhere. But, once you're in this, you don't want to go underwater on your buys. So they'll be reluctant to DCA into this, I think, because you want to get the best price you can, but equally you want to make sure that you've got it right. And people will be looking at the Ukraine crisis as what happened last time. Yeah, but I don't think this is the same situation. And it's unfolding hour by hour. Every time some oil refinery gets hit, there's less of this available, which can only mean one thing: it goes up. So I don't know. I'm not trailing a stop on it. No, I haven't got a stop loss on it at all. Look at my average price. Yeah, to get back to my break-even price on this, it's got to move 227 points. The biggest day in history has been 180. Yeah, I'm safe on this for days at the moment. So yeah, there's no point in trailing a stop on it. If you use a trading stop on this, do you know what's going to happen? You're going to get stopped out, and then it's going to go to 150 a barrel, and you're going to kick yourself. Stop losses are there to stop losses. They shouldn't be used to stop profit. And if you use a trailing stop above your break-even price, you will get that price because the market inherently moves up and down. So if you get into a trade, an entry there, it pushes all the way up to there, and you move your stop loss up to here. When it pulls back, it will take your stop loss before it goes on to the target that you set. No use whatsoever. Nobody has ever been able to convince me of a trailing stop being a useful thing. Doesn't work. Because of market structure. If you think about the whole way the market moves in market structure, means that, and with Fibonacci, yeah, what does it do? It pushes and it pulls back a percentage, 38, 50, 61, 8. So if you get into something and you move your stop loss to break even, there's a high probability it will take your break even before it moves. If you move it above your break even, there is a very high probability it will pull back 50% and take your break even before it moves. If you start trailing it really tight, just market movement is going to take you out. So if you think it's going from there to there and you say, take me out there before we get there, you're an idiot. But we are idiots, aren't we? Because we're scared. If I move this to break even now and put a break even stop in somewhere around about here, and this does that, I will be livid. But my initial stop loss was down here, which was 2.5 grand, which is, that's plenty of room. Well, actually, my initial trade was there. Look, that was my initial stop loss, 51 points. ADR on this is 43. Yeah, so I used a 150% stop at the time on this. And obviously now the ADR is, if you look at ADR 3 on this now, so the new average daily range, if you like, so make a note of that, 43 points is normal ADR. So the new average daily range on this now is 76. So if you stick an ADR indicator on the chart, ATR rather, on a daily, you'll see it. This is why we use ATR, because you've got to it's really so anyway. But you've got to basically see what it's doing over short periods of time at the moment. So same thing as when we had Trump coming in and everything collapsed. You have to move your ADRs down to make sure that you're measuring on how the market is moving right now. Right, let's have a quick look at these indices, see where we are. Pulling back at the moment. So last week's low is holding on the NASDAQ. Nice propulsion gap which held there on the Dow. So big order just came in on that. So we're back inside the 5-minute range on the NASDAQ. S&P will probably be doing the same thing. Fundamentals this time round are more significant than the Ukraine war, yeah, massively. I think at the moment, if this drags on, I mean, even Trump is saying this is likely to drag on for 4 to 6 weeks. I think, he's I'm not even sure it'd last 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not sure Iran have got enough missiles to last 4 to 6 weeks, the rate that they're firing them off, and drones. But if this does last 4 to 6 weeks and they continuously are bombarding everybody, that strait is not going to be saleable, is it? Because you've got all the Iran proxies targeting shipping in that area. So even if Iran don't do anything, their proxies will, which means if that's shut for 4 to 6 weeks, we've only got supply of oil. Most countries hold supplies of oil for 90 days. Yeah, it's 3 months worth of oil. So if you think if this thing is still going on in 4 to 6 weeks and we can't get that oil out of those countries, oil supplies worldwide are going to drop by 50%. Everybody will be running on, not reserves, but you're running on half of your normal reserve. You're then going to need to buy up a shed load of it, but they are not going to be able to supply it because they've only got enough storage to be able to get normal shipping out. So to get that supply will drop very, very quick. So the supply will drop internally very quick in countries, but the time it takes to actually get that supply back up will be 10 times longer than it takes to actually drop the thing. So one more little hiccup at some point during that restocking process, we're in massive problems. So I think that oil price is going to stabilize up at somewhere high for quite some time. Think about it as an oil producing country. Yeah. If the entire world gets strangled of your product, beautiful sell-off coming in. Target hit. Oil's just hit ADR. Really? Yeah, so TP hit on the DOW. Just going to set the second part of that to Globex. Yeah, down to Globex lows today. What was I saying? Yeah, oil. Those countries that are supplying oil are going to supply it at the best price they can possibly get for it. And obviously, people call it the oil cartels in the Middle East. It's because it's a little bit like all the drug cartels that they control the price of oil. OPEC, in effect, controls the supply and demand and pricing of oil. They're not going to let it go cheap, are they? Because it is their main income. So I can see it being very high for a long time. So I think we need to look at where it's going, but also the fact that it's going to stay there for a period of time. So it's one of those things you just got to take partials. Look, we're back up to $100 a barrel. Very, very quick. Something's happened. Katayama is speaking at the moment from Japan. Four Iranian supertankers arrive in waters near Singapore with 8 million barrels of oil after leaving Iran before February the 28th. So just saying, basically, they've got some oil. Lucky old them. G7 finance ministers would push relevant ministers on release of emergency oil reserves. That's exactly what I was just talking about. This 90-day oil reserve stockpile that you have, basically, we got to start using that. Yeah. If you start using that, you got to replenish it. What do you need to do to replenish it? Buy more oil. So what is that creating? Demand. We have no supply. Demand increases. Price goes up. So it's all the same. Everything is spiraling towards just rising that price. Closely monitoring energy markets, blah, blah, blah. France's finance minister, Lescure, ready to use strategic oil reserve to stabilize market. So they will stop buying, in effect, is what they're saying. Well, you can't buy it because you can't get it out. Greek operated tanker with 1 million barrels of oil loaded in Saudi Arabia sails through the Strait of Hormuz. Someone's got out with some oil. That's not good. We don't want that to happen. Maybe it is time to take a partial at $100 a barrel. Difficult to know. New Zealand dollar CAD's just moved as well. So weakness in the Canadian dollar today by the looks of things. So I was talking about this morning, how the Canadian dollar is strengthened off the back of the oil move because obviously they do export a lot of oil. So it looks like that's going for the gap fill. All the Canadian, so the gap fill's done on New Zealand CAD. Aussie CAD's just completed the gap as well. So pound CAD and euro CAD are the two that haven't got there yet. US dollar CAD, obviously, they're both going to do the same thing. So nice push up. So that double bottom there is likely what people are buying up at the minute. So everyone's seeing this as your low of the day today. So we pushed down, rejected. Then we had an inside bar followed by another inside bar. So a 2 inside bar symmetrical triangle, which broke to the downside and has double bottomed and rejected. So I would say that is probably just the market buying up on the hour. That double bottom rejection there. So if we close high here, that'd be an indication that higher prices are starting to get locked back in again. Israel resumes natural gas exports to Egypt. France's finance minister not there yet on releasing stockpiles of oil. It's coming in thick and fast today, isn't it? Nothing further on that at the moment. Okay, propulsion gap is filled now on the NASDAQ. So we rebought that twice. That it is filled now, although they did bounce out of it. So if we can break that low, we should be good to break short, hopefully, on the NASDAQ. So target obviously would be today, retesting those Globex lows. So that would give us kind of nice big bear candle today, continuing from obviously the moves that we've seen over the last sort of few days. Bearish, very bearish at the minute. So we also on this NASDAQ at the moment, as you can see, we're back down at the 200 moving average. We're back down at this pullback, which was coming into November, basically, where we had this low, which basically held. Okay, so strategically, this is an area that for the last 6 months, since September last year, we've been buying up basically at this level. We've just gapped down below it today. So if this gap down is a gap and go, it's going to break this low. Once this low's gone, next part of support is down at the bottom of this accumulation here, which means you've got like 300 ADR of downside movement. And that would also confirm that we are going into a bear market, which we should be looking at anything up to sort of 3 months of bearish price action. Month one obviously was February. Obviously March will be month 2. So in April, we'll be looking at coming back down into either this area here or into this accumulation at some point, sort of down into that area over the next couple of months. And obviously if this continues, this conflict, it's going to drive the markets down anyway. So that bear market that I've been talking about for a while does look like it's starting to play out, doesn't it? Not confirmed yet. Quite. So a little bit stuck on the NASDAQ. Just thinking about overnight, I would struggle to sleep with those profits. I didn't have them on Friday. I had 30 on Friday. It's all relative. This is not a high risk trade. It's like I said, it's a once in a decade opportunity. But yeah, I was checking. We got first thing I did this morning. Well, last night I checked it last night. Obviously, when the markets opened, first thing this morning, opened the laptop up immediately. We looked at it, and I was like, right, looking good. But it had pulled back, so I caught it as that pullback had happened. Unfortunately, so. First time I saw it this morning, so I saw the gap up today and I was like, if the gap fills overnight, no problem. That's where I actually caught it this morning when I woke up. And obviously ever since then, it's just been declining, but what it is. Anybody got any other pairs they want to look at? Nice holiday, yeah. Not worried about holiday. Mortgage. Get rid of that. That's the goal. Unfortunately, though, you can't do that. You can't pay off your mortgage because you have to pay a penalty. So, yeah. One of my friends has just paid his mortgage off. Well, not paid his mortgage off. He's been advised by his bank to pay off most of his mortgage, but keep 10 grand so that he's got a credit rating. Nuts, isn't it? So if you don't have a mortgage and you don't have a credit card, I haven't got any credit cards. I haven't had credit cards for years. But if you haven't got a mortgage and you've got no car loans and you've got no credit cards, if you actually do ever want to borrow money, you can't get it. So the advice for it is to keep a mortgage, just a small mortgage, just to prove that you can pay a mortgage off. And I'm like, well, his mortgage is like 80 quid a month or something ridiculous. It's like, well, I spend more than that if I go out for a meal. But gives you a credit rating. So that's what you do these days. Keep a small mortgage. Stupid, isn't it? So if you're on a variable rate now for your gas and electric in the UK, I'm going to do my Martin Lewis bit here. If you're in the US, you've no idea who Martin Lewis is, but so yeah, get yourself onto a fixed rate as soon as you can because it ain't going anywhere but up. So yeah, really need to look at those tariffs. I'm going to start shopping around this week to see if there's what fixed rate deals there are out there, because if the cost of wholesale gas and electric is going up, then we need to be trying to lock ourselves into what we can get now, because I don't foresee the future being very rosy at the minute. Mind you, it could all change today, couldn't it? The new Ayatollah apparently has been announced today as well. They haven't said who it is, but they have agreed on it, apparently. So good luck him. Talk about put a target on your back, whoever you are. Struggling a bit on the Dow. So this propulsion move we had in Globex this morning that got rebought. We've tested that again. So we'll see what happens when we test this wick at the top of this propulsion move on the Dow. That's your battlefield at the minute. Is the old guy's son who has been put in charge? Oh, is it? There's new supreme leader, so it is him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all I saw today was that they had agreed, but they didn't actually name. Just said interim leadership council mandate has effectively ended with the new supreme leader appointed on Monday, which is today, obviously. But it didn't actually say who the new supreme leader is. Let's face it, he's not likely to be the new supreme leader for very long, is he? Because he'll be replaced by someone else shortly when they take him out. Of all the jobs in the world, that's the one you don't want at the minute. Supreme leader of Iran. Oh, NATO correction. No second missile was intercepted today. So that second missile that NATO just said has been fired at Turkey was not a missile. Somebody was throwing a baguette very high and they intercepted it thinking it was a missile, but it wasn't. It was a French stick. That last bit was a joke, just in case. How'd you get that wrong? NATO getting it wrong. It's quite a big wrong, isn't it? Turkey and send it to NATO, and NATO thought it was real. Because that's basically what social media is now. It's 99% cats doing stuff that you didn't think cats could do and being fooled into thinking they have got opposable thumbs. Some of the stuff I've seen recently is just, you have to look at it twice and then you have to look at it again and think, is it? And you catch fingers. It's still quite not got fingers right on a lot of occasions. And you're like, that's not real. Especially if it's Trump doing dancing and stuff, which is obviously very funny. Imagine calling yourself the supreme leader. Yes, no. Supreme leader. He's dead. I mean, I'm not, even if he killed my dad, I'd go, it's all right, don't worry about it, because you're just basically signing your death warrant, aren't you? That job is not the one you want. They're mad taking that on. Have you looked at AJ? No. Big move just starting on Aussie yen. It's Australian dollar rallying, isn't it? Okay, so Aussie's rallying. Let's have a look at gold. Just a rally in the Australian dollar at the moment. Wow. Fear and greed index has just come out. Anybody want to guess on whether we're in fear or greed mode? That's the lowest I've seen that for a long time. 8. I don't actually think I've ever seen it down there before. 8. What happens when it gets to 0? What would happen when it gets to 0? Look at that. Crypto and markets all at the same levels. Oh no, that is the crypto one. Why have they posted it twice? Extreme fear. No, it's extreme fear. They've got it wrong, haven't they? Once. Yeah. Oh, look, last month we apparently got down to 6. Must have missed that one. Do not buy the stock markets. Why is my terminal not working? So yeah, Australian dollar rallying at the minute. Not good for my Aussie short. Although I'd have to say Aussie US out of all the Australian pairs is probably the safest thing at the moment, and Aussie CAD, because obviously the oil price is going to drive Canadian and US strength. So, but yeah, weakness in the Japanese yen at the moment, driving that one up. We looked at this morning in the member stream, how weak this yen is again. It's not in a good place at the moment, the yen. Although the US dollar yen is on its way as well to that 160 level. So there's your intervention move. The intervention, is it? Yes. So yeah, we're getting back up to that 160 level where the Japanese obviously pressed the button. We've surpassed the button press, if you like. So, you want to be watching this for a second intervention move from the Japanese if they've got it in them. Not a bad looking little short opportunity on this at the moment. Very nicely extended. You got very good divergence going in across there. Look, equal highs in the RSI, price making new highs. Oil's coming down again. It's like a yo-yo at the moment, it really is. Okay, so this is looking very rotational today. We haven't got any real strength in the market at all. Nasdaq's stuck. New lows going in, new lower highs going in at the minute. Very whippy, very, very whippy, very difficult. A lot of people getting stopped out on this at the minute, I'd imagine, because these candles are absolutely huge. Difficult conditions to trade today if you're not jumping in on something like an ORB. The oil's just pushing back down again now. Really not going anywhere. So you've got this control candle at the moment, which is in charge. So after the initial push, we had this obviously hour of not going anywhere. Then we rejected that downside, double rejection. Then we managed to break down but couldn't hold it. Push back up inside bar, another inside bar. So we've had multiple inside bars today. Then another rejection, which was attempted and failed. Now we've got an upside rejection, failed. So market just totally stuck at the minute, looking inside this as your control candle. So first breakout of that and hold, i.e. break up here and hold outside of that level or down and outside of that level, you're likely to come and retest previous levels. So just waiting for market really to decide which way to go today. If any direction. Hit my Claude limit. I've had my AI basically working on some strategies for me. Basically, we've been doing some. He's been doing some analysis on the whole internet, if you like, for. Let me just see if I can find the document. One sec. I asked him to do some analysis on the web, basically, and an exhaustive analysis. And it's used up 54% of my entire monthly Claude allowance to do this. So it's a big project. So what I asked him to do was to go and research 500 URLs. And I wanted him to research mean reversion strategies, breakout strategies, and trend strategies. But what I have found when I'm asking AI to do any type of research is it has a limit it reaches, then it goes, I'm done. Yeah. And I don't think that is right. What I've asked him to do was to go out and research the entire human knowledge of trading. Every website you can possibly find out there to do with trading, I want you to research it. I want you to read it. I want you to document it. And then I want you to basically get all of that information. And then when you've finished, analyze all that information, compartmentalize all that information, weigh up the goods and the bads and conflicts and all that sort of stuff, and put together a complete everything we know about trading for humanity type document. Yeah. To be the Bible, if you like, of trading. So every time I've sent them off on a similar sort of task, it sort of stops. So I watched some videos basically on how to do deep research with AI, and the sort of prompt, if you like, to make sure it's done properly is to give it a limit to hit. So I said, I want you to go away and research 500 websites, not web pages, websites. So go out there and spin up multiple agents, and I want you to go off and research 500 websites. Yeah. And come back with all the information from those 500. It timed out on me, unfortunately, at 431, but it's gone to 431 websites across the web to find information about trading. So the strongest documented edges, all the information you could possibly find, and strategies and everything. Put that all together in a document, which is this 60-page document, which is basically his kind of findings, if you like. And then I want you to take all of that information, formulate back tests and out of sample robustness tests for whatever you find, and come back to me with what you would trade if you knew everything there was to know about trading that the human race has ever published on the internet. Yeah. So it's a big project. This took 10 agents, about 6-7 hours to do. And then it's stalled out and I had to restart it and stuff because it's, there's limits to what you can do with Claude before you start becoming bankrupt. But that's basically what he's done. So he's produced this document, and it's researched absolutely everything. And I've read this, and there's a ton of information in there, which is really, really good. So I said, what you now need to do is go out and back test all of this, okay? And come back with another report, which is your comprehensive findings on everything you know, and after testing it, what actually works and what doesn't from back testing. It's got 5 years worth of data to work with across 7 or 8 instruments. And I said, go out and now back test all this and figure out what works. And it's really interesting because if you look at this, you probably can't see it. Let me just zoom in on it. This kind of hammers home everything that I teach in the bootcamp and everything I keep saying about all this bollocks that's on the internet, right? So he has come back and said, these are robust strategies, the complete list. And I haven't prompted him on any of this. He hasn't watched all my stuff or anything, yeah? Mean reversion, seasonal and calendar strategies, and breakout strategies. Now, if you change that for trend, those are the 3 strategies that I keep going on about. There is only 3 strategies: mean reversion, trend, and breakout. Yeah. So that is his findings. These are the robust ones. So what he's done is he's done system parameter permutation testing, out of sample testing, walk forward optimization, and Monte Carlo testing on all of these strategies. I think it was 600 and something. Yeah. 680 back tests across 85 strategies on 5 years worth of data. That's what he's done. What failed completely, and this made me laugh, ICT SMC, 0 robust strategies. 0 robust strategies. What's the biggest thing on the internet? All that crap to do with ICT. None of it works. Back tested all of it. None of it works. Yeah. So The silver bullet, kill zones, liquidity sweeps, double tops, equal highs, lows. Look at the strike rates and the profit factors on this stuff. Dead in the water, the whole lot. So all the ICT stuff, throw it in the bin, basically. All these people that are out there smart money concepting. Yeah. No. What doesn't work? Opening range breakout, confirmed dead without filters. Okay, so now this is interesting because obviously my ORB variation does use filters. We use ADR filtering to decide on what to trade. So he's obviously gone out and done standard ORB, doesn't work without filters, which is why I introduced filters into the ORB strategy. So that's interesting. Standard doesn't work. And this is, kind of what you could say about all of this as well. ICT stuff out of the box is a load of rubbish, but people start adding things into ICT and all of a sudden it actually becomes slightly useful. So it's probably the same thing. Price action patterns, all fragile or fail. So a fragile strategy basically is one that doesn't pass robustness testing 100%, but it passes about 80% of robustness tests. So some of them are okay, but most of them are not any good. So there's loads of stuff you found that basically didn't work, which was really interesting. And then obviously a load of other backtest information that he came out with, basically. So yeah, he's just said, what he's done, 8 symbols, 85 strategies, tested across multiple symbols, 5 years worth of data. This is the validation methodology, so the robustness testing, all done with walk forward analysis. So 4 walk forward tests, Monte Carlo analysis with 1,000 shuffles, system parameter permutation testing up to 50% of the system parameter permutations. And basically these are what he came out with. So from there, he basically went on to put together the strategies that he was going to trade. No, not that one. There's another one. Oh, so many documents I've got lying around. But yeah, so basically then he came up with a list of the strategies to actually trade, which I think was in here. Oh, these are all the rules for all the strategies and how they performed. But yeah, I've got another document basically which what failed completely. FVG fill, order blocks, change of character, liquidity streak, kill zones, OTE Fibonacci entries, your special Fibonacci level that you came up with that's never been used before in any Fibonacci trading. Sorry, ICT. Equal highs and lows. Yeah, we know about double tops and bottoms, but yours, liquidity sweeps. Asian range London hunt. Market structure, break of structure. We know all of this. VWAP bounce. Now, this is interesting. I didn't know that ICT traded VWAP, but apparently he now trades VWAP, which is interesting because he's only ever traded CFDs as far as I know. So unless he's gone into futures recently, because I don't follow him, but if he was trading VWAP on CFDs, obviously, yes, that is going to fail because there is no centralized volume. But anyway, so apparently that all fails as well. So that was interesting. So yeah, he's basically done all of this work. So then he created some EAs for me. And that is the list of EAs that he's created. Yeah. All of these EAs are basically all of the strategies in here that he has found are robust. Yeah. And these have all passed system parameter permutation testing. So I've now got a folder full of EAs that I've got to test. And some of these are phenomenal. So like results are, no way, I've got to test this myself. So I've system parameter permutation tested. I put them on outer sample tests going back before COVID. Still equity curves going through the roof. So some of the stuff that he's actually found in this document is phenomenal. But all of them are daily strategies and they all execute off of daily timeframes. So I've got him to go back on H4 timeframes and rerun all the tests, which at the moment he's got no plan usage because he's up to his limit. So I've got to restart him in 21 minutes when I've actually got my session limit back. But so yeah, he's been off and doing all this work for me over the last sort of 2 days But this thing's phenomenal what it's able to write. All the stuff that we've done up to this point, I've thrown away because it's been absolute rubbish. And basically this memory problem that I have is an issue. And I found the way to get AI or NICs working properly for me is to make sure that we get everything that we need to get done in one session. Yeah. So when he resets a session, that's when all these memory leaks seem to start and he starts going off in tangents. So for example, this morning, we'd done all the work on this yesterday. This morning, I said, can you build me some EAs to test all of the strategies that you found which worked in the comprehensive findings, which is the document here, on the 4-hour time frame instead of the daily time frame. He went off and built EAs for strategies that he found last week in a completely different session because he'd forgotten what we did yesterday, which was create all of this. So I had to give him this again and say, this is the document. He was like, yeah, you're right. I was looking at the wrong thing. He knows he's an idiot. But anyway, so yeah, it's very interesting. I'm getting on better with him now than I was last week, because last week I was just giving up because he was just getting everything wrong. But he seems to have redeemed himself this weekend. So I'll let you know how we get on with that. But I've got a hell of a job now because I've got all these EAs I've got to now go and back test, and there are tons of them. Yeah, all of this stuff has all got to be back tested. There's so much of it in there. So we'll see how we get on. But it should be fun. Just stopped out on the NASDAQ short. So we had a 1R on it, but not enough. So out of the second part of the Dow as well. So profit on the Dow, loss on NASDAQ so far, but let's see if this breaks long. So if we're going to break to the upside today, we will go for previous close. So I'm just going to move my TP down to the close of Friday there. So that potentially is upside target on a long break. We've got to get through the previous session low as well before we get there. But that'll be my upside target if we get a long break on. I won't be taking another short on that. DAX is already done. So if we break up on the Dow today, partial close is prior to previous close. So if we break long today on the Dow, just be aware you are trading straight into the Globex highs. But if it breaks through that Globex high, it's obviously going for the gap fill. So there is a valid long today if it breaks long. But I mean the probabilities. It's a 54% fill rate, so it does fill. We've got 48 sessions to compare that on. 54% fill rate. So there is a probability we may get up there on the DAX. On the Dow, sorry. Data feed seems to have stopped for some reason. Oh, the times are wrong on this. Ah, crap. Okay, EdgeStat Pro, the times are wrong. I need to get him to change this. I haven't got any, I can't get him to change it at the moment. So yeah, if you're watching EdgeStat Pro, this is still working off the previous clocks. Doesn't adjust, I didn't even think about adjusting the clocks. He should have thought about adjusting the clock, shouldn't he? His job, he's the AI, he's the clever one. Okay, so watch that break long today. There is a good probability of reaching that gap. We started earlier. Yeah. You haven't adjusted your clocks, have you, Wozcheck? Clock's changed. New York opens at 1:30 now, not 2:30 in the UK. Only for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back to normal. So big rejection on oil there. Look at the size of that spread as well. Look at that spread on oil. There is no liquidity in this market at the moment. Look at the size of it. So will we get that gap fill done? I really hope not. I just want this to pop up to 150 so I can get out. 130. Nice. Okay, so long NASDAQ. A lot further to go on the Dow before I get a break long, but NASDAQ has broken long. Stop loss on the NASDAQ is just below midline on that propulsion gap. So that's not a bad place for a stop. If we are going to break long and we're going to retest out of it, that's a good chance that we broke those highs there. So we'll probably add into that. So that's your Globex high gone. Previous session and daily low is here, which is the next test to the upside. So if we can get through that level, got a good chance of getting up to that previous close, which has got a 54% probability of getting hit. Actually, on the NASDAQ today, these stats are going to be out because obviously the times are wrong. But yeah, it's a 50-50 shot today with a gap of this size. Your target is 130 on oil, yeah. First target. So yeah, I mean that's. I'm just looking at upside resistance basically. So you know, if you're going to target something, you need to target where price has been. Price has been to 130 when the Ukraine war kicked off. So that is my initial target. In fact, just these manually over there. Take two of them off up there. So that'll be a partial, which will be 28 and 26, so 40, 54k. Two trades up there. Can't get these on because I can't trigger them because trading is suspended. So the market's in sell only on Robo Forex at the moment, or exit only. Can't buy, unfortunately. But once that target's hit 130, obviously the market, that's just where the market went last time. That doesn't mean that's where the market is going this time. The market will go where the market needs to go. But if we are going to find resistance, that's where everyone's watching. So like me, people will have sell orders up there to get out of their long positions. So you want to get out where everyone else is getting out because the likelihood is that that will get a bounce. But I think it will go through that if this continues. So partial and then average will remain roughly the same place. At that point, I'll be more than happy to stick a break even on this because we'll be up here and I'll be 700 ADR away from the entry, which is not a problem, is it? 63% of IG clients are long. They won't want all of them making money. Yeah. Is IG spread betting? If IG spread betting, they're in an absolute mess. I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Not broker, is it? But I used to trade with them when I first started out. I traded with IG. What a horrible looking website. Yeah, spread betting, yeah. And CFDs. The vast majority, I mean, IG are a massive sort of proper retail broker in the fact that, you know, they advertise on TV and stuff. And, you know, it's like trading 212. They're the novice's like choice because they're advertising on telly. They're taking the opposite side of every single trade. So if you've got someone that's gone into a long on oil, yeah, they're on the other side of it. They're underwater. And obviously it depends on how much they've taken drawdown on, but they will be in pain at the moment. They will be praying that this is back down here. Because if it goes up to there, they're going to be in big trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if you see some brokers going bust. If it rallies, obviously. Spreads are terrible. Yeah, I know. This is why you don't trade spread betting. I don't know why people do it. They've run WTI the whole time. 2 technical issues in the last week. Yeah, I don't use... I left IG a long time ago because when I was trading FX and I went down, part of my journey was going down the route of trading Elliott wave. And I was trading Elliott wave on 5-minute time frames and the spreads were terrible. So I looked into, because I was on spread betting at that time, I looked into how spreads work and everything and discovered CFDs and ECN accounts and all that sort of stuff that you do when you're researching around when you're young. And yeah, I moved away from IG because spread betting is, the attraction to spread betting is there's no tax on it in the UK. So everyone goes, oh, there's no tax to pay, I'm going to do that. Same as gambling. There's no tax on gambling unless it becomes your main income. And then you have to pay tax on it regardless. So everyone goes, oh, I do this because there's no tax on it. So yeah, first you've got to become profitable. You only pay tax on profits. 95% of traders lose money. So what's the point in you're putting yourself into a disadvantaged position by having bad spreads, yeah, so that you can't execute your trades properly at the right prices, and you're going to be losing anyway because you knew. So go CFDs, go ECN route to make sure you give yourself the best chance of getting the best possible price. And you might actually make some money, but it doesn't work. So spread betting is great, but you're never going to get the spreads that you want. Because the whole point of spread betting is that's how they make their money. They give you one price and they take another price from the dart pool. So they make money regardless. Their job, and I can't show you because I've got no buttons, but their job is to get you to press buttons. Because every time you press one of these buttons up here, they make money on either commission or spread. That's a broker's job. So it's in the broker's interest to get you to hit that button. Doesn't matter what happens to the trade. It doesn't matter whether they take the other side of your trade or they farm your trade out to dart pools to get filled. It's irrelevant. The button press is where the money is made. A spread is captured and a commission is charged. So if you are a broker and you've got somebody that trades 100 times a day, they are your number one client. If you've got somebody that trades 10 times a day, it doesn't matter whether they make money or lose money. You are going to prioritize the button pusher. Yeah, and that's where IG make their money. They want you to press the button as much as possible, which is why they give you those lovely things like the retail positioning, which you've just said about. Yeah. So if they tell you that 68% of retail traders lose money and 69% of them are currently long on something, you should be doing the opposite, shouldn't you? So they give you all the information possible to press that button. Doesn't matter what happens to the trade. They make money. That's their job. Best job in trading is brokers. That's where all the money's made because when you press a button, you make them money. And most of them obviously take the other side of your trade because you get it wrong all the time. So they might as well take your money as well as the money that they're taking for the bet, in effect, that you're placing. That's brokers. They are not your friend. They're all cutting staff numbers. Customer services is appalling. It's all AI bots, yeah. After 20 minutes holding to get a human who is working from home in India. Yeah. Margins dropped in brokerages when the licensing became relaxed. So when we had the leverage introduced in Europe so that we could only get 1 to 30 leverage, that opened up a lot of doors for competition. So there was a lot of brokers flooded the market because it cost £250,000 to get a license. And there's a load more brokers came in. So it all got really competitive. So all of their money goes basically back into advertising. So they know the statistics. 90% of people lose 90% of their account in 90 days. Some people say 60% lose 60% in 60 days. Whichever way you look at it, the vast majority of traders lose all of their money within a quarter. Yeah. So all their job is to do, brokers, is to advertise for new clients to replace the quarterly cycle of losing clients. So you have this thing where your customer base goes like that. So this is the people losing the money, filling up your bank balance. Your bank balance is then spent on replenishing that customer cycle, who then lose their money, give it to you, and then you give it back to advertising companies to drive up that. And it's this never-ending cycle. So brokers, their job is to pump money into the marketing machine to basically take commissions and spreads out the market. That's how brokerages work. Pushing buttons. So yeah, it's a competitive industry out there. So if you can cut your entire customer service team, yeah, when that happens and it puts that into your bank account and you have to pay out for that, if you don't have to pay out for the customer service team, you make more money. So let's replace those with AI, yeah? And then only really pick up the phone if someone's pestering you really badly. But let's send them to India where they're paid $1 an hour, or $5 an hour probably. Let's give them credit. They do earn about $3 or $5 an hour. We'll farm it all out there because somebody sitting in America is going to want $25 an hour. Or someone sitting in the UK is going to want £15 an hour, roughly $20, $25 an hour. Yeah. So yeah, that's the way it works. It's just but that's the way all industry is going, isn't it? AI is going to make 80% of jobs redundant because it can do 80% of jobs right now. If it involves a computer, it's not going to be there in 6 months. And if it is there, it's because your boss hasn't figured out that it doesn't have to be there. Yeah. This video, I've said this before, I don't know if it was in here or in the member stream, but I watched a video recently of a guy that's automated his job. And he posted it up on social media, basically saying, he was done on Monday within an hour or two. That's it, his entire week's work. So he gets given his weekly workload to be done. AI does it for him in an hour and he sits there looking busy. He knows he's redundant. He's just waiting for his boss to figure out what he's figured out, which is that his job can be done by AI. It's not going to take long for businesses to figure that out. And when they figure that out, there won't be any jobs left. So yeah, customer service, definitely gone. Even telephone customer service with 11 Labs and AI. I mean, I can talk to Nix and Nix can talk back to me, my AI. If I give him 11 Labs access, which I have as a little experiment, he can talk fluently and I can't tell it's not a human being. He can even phone me because he's got access to WhatsApp. So, outbound sales calls from salespeople, gone. Who's the best salesperson in the world? An AI that's been trained on all best salespeople in the world. He can make 1,000 phone calls a minute using 11 Labs with one AI agent. So, sorry, did you have a sales force full of 100 people sitting in an office costing you £25,000 a month to run? Yeah, Get rid of that. Go on. Why do you need it? Customer service, sales, data entry, accountancy, solicitors, anything that can be computer automated can be gone within 6 months. Trading. Most of it's automated anyway. 90% of bank trading is done by quants. We haven't got access to those quants yet, but I'll tell you what, my AI is not doing a bad job of figuring out how a lot of these quants work on the daily time frame, and a lot of the strategies that he's testing are working really well on the daily time frame. The downside is, because banks only trade usually on daily time frames, apart from obviously order flow, they only really work on the dailies. So you're only taking sort of somewhere around about 9 to 15 trades a year. So it'll only get into 1 or 2 trades a month maximum. But if you've got, like, I mean, how many strategies has he given me? 120. So I got, there's 2 files in there plus a thingy. So somewhere around about 60 strategies there across multiple instruments I've got that will only take 1 or 2 trades a month maximum. That's probably enough, isn't it? If you risked 1%, 2% maybe on those strategies, and they've got pretty high strike rates, usually sort of in the 60s. Yeah, but they vary. But I mean, some of them have got 70% strike rates. A little bit like the RSI 2 strategy. But, if you look at something like 4-hour RSI 80-20, 90-10 that I keep going on about. I mean, forget oil. Well, let's not look at oil. That's not a good example, is it? But yeah, so you look at the 90-10 RSI strategy. Again, forget this because it's oil, but strike rate on that is immense. Yeah, but you're only going to take a trade a quarter, aren't you, if you're lucky? But if you took a trade a quarter with 5% risk and an 80% strike rate, yeah, most people will bite your arm off for it. There's a 100% strike rate on that chart right there. But could you only take 3 trades since September? So you're probably looking at 6 trades a year with a 100% strike rate. Most people are happy with that. Let's say we lose 2 of those. Yeah, and you get something like a 75% strike rate, risking 5% to get I don't know what you'd get out of that. 2R, 3R, something like that. Maybe go for a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. If you've got 75% strike rate, it's not a problem, is it? But this is the sort of stuff he's finding that is working incredibly well. But you need to obviously factor in that you're going to need to risk more because the opportunities are less, which is why I've told him to go away and work on the 4-hour. Oh, status update. He's just come back. Just updated the backtester to enforce minimum trade counts on the H4 timeframe for 100 trades per strategy. So one of the things I've picked him up on last time, or when he gave me that document, was some of the strategies have only got like 60 trades in the total period of time, which on a daily time frame is okay, but on a 4-hour time frame, we need to have at least 100 trades in a 5-year period. And if you're looking at hourly timeframes, you want something like 300, 500 trades in a 5-year period. Otherwise, there's not enough data there to give you robustness. So he's gone off and now he's reworking those edges on 4-hour to see how they work on 4-hour timeframes. Should be interesting. Sage Software getting hammered in the stock market, as is Rightmove and Auto Trader, all due to AI concerns. Yeah, Sage I can understand. Auto Trader and Rightmove are just marketplaces, so I'm not sure about how AI would affect them. Because if I'm selling a car on Auto Trader, I can get AI to list it for me, but then that's just doing what I would do as a human. So it's not really a job, is it? Same on Rightmove. Estate agents list properties, and then that is a human interaction thing. We've tried the let's get rid of the estate agent thing, haven't we? We've had estate agents in the UK in the past, and we still got them, haven't we? Purple Bricks and stuff, where they went, we haven't got any people here. So basically, we'll send a photographer out and we'll list it on Rightmove for you. And you deal with the people that come and you show them around your house. Nah, I don't want to show people around my house. I want you to show people around my house because I'm not a salesperson. You got some old lady who's like in her 90s that needs to sell her house to move into a home. She ain't going to be able to show people around, is she? Yeah, and you've got security risks. You're letting complete strangers into your house. That's not going to be replaced by AI. There will be jobs within Rightmove and Auto Trader, I would imagine, that will be replaced by AI, the customer service element. I sold a car recently on motorway, and it was a hideous experience only because I got a rogue trader buying my car. The process of actually listing on the site, them auctioning it, finding a buyer was fantastic. And their customer service, when I spoke to them, were brilliant. Just had some idiot that wanted to knock my price of my car down because my oil was black. No joking. Came to pick up my car, right? 3 months old. Yeah. Come out of a dealership 3 months ago. Full service 3 months ago. Put the dipstick in 4-5 times. Pulled it out like this. It's like, then he took a photo of it. Sent back to head office. Yeah. They came back and said, you definitely have got a problem with your engine because your oil's black. Can you imagine what I said to that? Oil? Black? Really? Shit, I thought it was orange. Yeah, and then they took pictures of my brake discs and pads and said, you've got a bit of rust on your brake discs. I said, yeah, car lives outside. It's metal. So they wanted to knock me over £1,000 on the car because it had black oil and a bit of rust on the discs. Like, Jesus Christ. Some people might be stupid enough to fall for this, but I'm not stupid. So yeah, that was a good experience. I got exactly what I wanted for the car in the end. After him hanging up on me and me hanging up on him 5 times, he finally came back and gave me the price that he'd agreed to originally. But that wasn't Motorway's fault. Their customer service were brilliant. You just, you don't know who. Same as anything, isn't it? If you list something for sale and an idiot comes and buys it, you can't control the idiot factor, can you? Yeah. Just the world's full of them. Got one running America at the moment. Because they spend millions on creating websites and technology. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, creating that part of it. But that's IT, isn't it? That's not, Rightmove and Auto Trader. The IT and the web design or web development part of it, yeah, that's all gone. But that's not a lot of jobs within that type of organization, I wouldn't imagine. But yeah, that's all disappearing. Like I said, Nix has built all this. This entire website is all built with AI. All the data, everything, all the charting, the layout, all of this stuff. I didn't ask for any of this. Just built it. So everything you see is all created by AI. I don't know how many lines of code are in here, but there's a lot. That part of it, but you still need someone to come up with this. Yeah, that's the bit that it's not going to take, is it? The idea. A lot of it's going to go, definitely. I mean, I come from an IT background. I'm a web designer by trade. That part of the industry, the design part of the industry is still alive. The coding side of the industry, gone. Completely gone. There's nobody now that is programming without AI that I'm aware of. And if they are, they're not going to get much work in the future, because if you want me to build you a system to do anything on the web, I can have it built now within 24 hours to a level that would take me 6 months and many, many hours of planning, design, and all sorts of stuff, probably multiple people, and I would charge you 25 grand for it. I can have it up and running now for probably a couple of £100. That part of the industry is gone. That business is gone. The design side of things, AI is crap at design. Look at this website. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's functional, but it's not pretty in any way, shape, or form, is it? Yeah, it's pretty, you know, the icons are a bit ropey. It's all functional, but, you know, if you gave this to a customer that had paid 25 grand for a working dashboard, they'd be a bit disappointed. Whereas you look at some sites out there and you think, yeah, there's a human that's thought about UX, user interfaces and things. So it's got a lot of work to do on the design side of things. Designing nice looking websites is not there yet. But it will be, you know. 6 months ago, it couldn't make movies. Now anybody can make a movie. Literally anybody can make a movie. If you can describe a film, you can make it. Yeah, 6 months ago, we couldn't do that. Where are we going to be in 6 months' time? Who knows? All redundant, that's for sure. If you're in a white-collar job at the moment, you really need to start thinking about retraining and doing something else, because it's not going to be there. We're seeing I mean, you're looking at look at the NASDAQ. Yeah, it's all tech stocks. A very large portion of this is software as a service businesses. Yeah, it's, you know, software as a service is gone as an industry. The retest of the lows is, oh yeah, there you go. Previous session lows just been tested. So Friday's low's gone. See if they jump in on this there. So watch it if you're long on NASDAQ. Dow is just about to break straight up into Globex highs. It's not a very good place to be buying this, or a good time to be buying this. But yeah, anything that's software as a service, you know, I said this last week. If you give me a website out there that does something, I can replicate it. So I can give any website on the web now to my AI, and my AI will copy the design. It's good at copying stuff's not a problem. It copy the design and it will copy the code to make the functionality work. And if it doesn't know how something works, it will figure it out. Yeah. So there's no software as a service out there. So accountancy systems like Sage, for example, this has already been mentioned. That is done. Sage, because if I need accounting software, I'll build it, because I don't need all the bells and whistles and all the complexity that Sage has. I'm a one-man band working from home, doing web design or whatever it may be that I'm doing. I don't need a management reporting system and a journaling system to do this, that, and the other, and all this integration with X, Y, and Z. I just need it to track my ingoing and outgoing via my bank link, and produce a P&L and a button that I can press to send it off to the tax man at the end of the year. That's all I need. That can be built in minutes. Can AI build you a business website? Yeah. Just about to go long on the Dow. What business website? You know, business doing what? It's not very good at design at the moment, like I say, but it's coming. You know, there's sites out there that you can replicate sites with. So there's AI models out there that you can say, go and replicate this website. I could give Nix a website now. Yeah, he's working again now. And say, duplicate this, and it will. And then I'll say, right, all the copy in there, rewrite all the copy, because it's copyrighted. It's somebody else's copy. I don't want it. And go off and find me imagery from a stock repository or from Google Images to replace all the imagery that's up there at the moment, because it's not mine. So that it can do very easily. If you want it to build it on a particular web platform like Elementor or Divi Builder or something like that, it will struggle. But if you just want it to build you a bog standard WordPress site and make a theme for it, or not use, I mean, this is the thing. Obviously, coming from the web industry, we used to use, they must still do it, but page builder systems. So to build a website, you would have a drag and drop interface to build pages out, build the header out, build the footer out. It's all drag and drop and size it and do all this sort of stuff. So the main builders out there, Divi and WP Bakery was one, and Elementor, they all exist as people that can't code can use this. Those systems have now been replaced by AI. So if you can't code and you can't design, you get AI to do that for you. Yeah. So you don't need WordPress anymore, because WordPress is a blogging platform and a content management system. AI is my content management system. I ask it to write me research a blog post, write me a blog post, find me an image and publish it on my website. I don't need a content management system to do that now. I just ask AI to do it and it does it. So I don't need all these fancy content management systems like WordPress and Joomla and all this sort of stuff. And I don't need the page builder systems, the themes and all the stuff that you used to do in web design. None of that's irrelevant anymore. You just ask AI to build it. Long on the DOW. Not a great entry considering we've just been pushing up for the last sort of 40 minutes, but and we're pushing straight into the Globex highs. This thing's due a pullback. We'll see how we get on, but oil is coming down again. So yeah, all that stuff is gone. And if it's not gone now, it will be very much gone within months. So yeah, it can build a website, it can build databases, it can build anything you want. You know, this right, EdgeStat Pro, all this is in effect a database with a front end on it that is having data fed into it via an MT4 feed. So, but all of it's 100% coded with AI and designed by AI. I didn't ask it to lay it out like this. I didn't ask it to lay any of this out like this. It decided to lay it all out like this because it knew this was the easiest way to display that data. You know, this is the sort of thing it's capable of. I didn't ask it to put a button there to hide that away. It knew that this was the most important bit of information and that was less important, so it hid it. There's so much stuff it's very, 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 very clever at doing. But there is still an element where you have to have some kind of human interaction at the moment to test it. Because if you want it to build you a business website, the purpose of that is for humans to look at it. So you as a human need to look at it. So that's the bottleneck at the moment, is AI is great at doing all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's doing it to please us. So we have to check it. And that's where the problem lies at the moment in workflow. Like I said, for me at the moment, I've got 60 EAs to backtest. Yeah. So I've got to do that. It's done it. It's already tested them. It's written me a 60-page document on the results. But do I now I've got two choices now, haven't I? I can take those 60 EAs, place them on charts and let it trade on my live account and hope it was right. Or I can backtest and verify those results, which is going to take me a day or so. And then put them on my account to trade. I'm not going to just stick it on my account without me verifying it. So there is now, he's created all of this within hours. I now have a 2-day bottleneck of work that I've got to do because he's given it to me. He can do it. I know he can do it, but I don't trust him. That element, I think, is the part that we're struggling with at the moment. AI now builds all my MT4 indicators and even a couple of decent EAs. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's no point in me, but I'm not building anything commercially anymore. I used to build all my stuff out to sell it. I don't do that anymore. No point. What's the point in that? You know, I build everything I build now for me. I'm going to trade for me. That's what I'm going to do. And if people want it, they can have it. But I'm not going to give any strategies away that I'm going to trade now because there's no point. If you think about it, if you give away a strategy to someone, you explain how a strategy works, what they're going to do is get AI to watch that video, summarize it, build an EA and test it. There's no commercial way to make money in this industry anymore by selling anything that is indicator or EA related. Yeah, I used to use that as a sideline to pay for hosting my website to keep everything up and running. It's gone. Nobody's going to buy anything anymore if you explain how it works, because if you explain how it works, it can be built. So everything I'm going to do from now on is going to be done. I'm going to take trades, but I would never tell anybody how I'm taking them now or why I'm taking them, because if you know why I'm taking them, it can be taken away. I think a lot of edges in the market are going to vanish because AI is going to work out what bank and institutional edges are being exploited that are non-order flow related, i.e. the ones that are created by market makers and have institutional insider trading advantages, which is how they make most of their money, knowing when the market's going to move because they know where the order flow is coming from. Those edges we can't replicate because obviously we can't be privy to that information. But all of the standard quants that they use to do algorithmic trading, those are all going to be cracked because an AI can sit there and analyze it and replicate it, I think. So I don't think anything's safe. I think this is going to become very much more cloak and dagger, this industry. Go and get any YouTube. Go and find any YouTube video where there's a guy explaining a strategy, right? And do this as an experiment. If you've got OpenClaw, you got your own AI, or even if you haven't got your own AI, you can use another AI to get a summary of that video. So any video that you see on YouTube, yeah. So if you pick pick one of my videos like this one, for example, yeah, you can generate a summary with this AI called NoteGTP, which will generate a transcript of it, right? So this is extracting the video content and there's a transcript of that entire video. How quick was that? Pretty quick. Save that as a note, give it to AI and say, read this and create me an indicator or an EA to do that. Literally within 2 minutes, that'll be done. That's how easy it is. Go and find any video on YouTube with anybody explaining a strategy, use that plugin, get all that information out, build yourself an EA or an indicator within minutes and test it. If it doesn't work, throw it away. You know that guy's an idiot. You shouldn't be listening to him. Go on to the next one. So system hopping is now being AI hopping. That's basically what it's turned into. So every video you see on YouTube with someone explaining something to you, if it has mechanical rules, you can build it. Yeah, but you cannot build discretion. And that's where I think most people in this industry or who are trying to do trading, what they are going to discover is that 90% of making money in this industry is to do with discretionary trading. Why am I long on oil at the moment? Because there's a war kicking off. You cannot replicate that. Yeah. Why did I adjust my target today on the NASDAQ? Yeah, or on the DOW because I saw a support. Yeah, this is discretion. If it was 100% mechanical, you can build it. But if it's got any element of discretion in it, where some guy in a video goes, the best thing to do is to do this or maybe do that. Yeah, if there's an if and an or, you can't automate it because there's two ways to go. Which one is it, that or that? Because an EA is a dumb instrument. It's a robot. You have to say, if this, then that. Yeah. If this, then think about it, decide. That's us. You can get AI to do that for you, but then you're reliant on that being right. Yeah. Which brings you back to the full circle of 95% of traders losing money because they don't know what they're doing. But as far as automation goes, it's too easy. It's too easy now to build stuff. So as an industry that's gone, and it won't never come back, obviously. Look, music. So, okay, let's talk about ADR, average daily range. There's the music. Nuts, isn't it? This is all free as well. Crazy. We literally are making ourselves as a race redundant in every shape and form. There is nothing at the moment that you can do that it can't do, apart from thinking about stuff. It's absolutely terrifying what this thing is going to be doing in 6 months' time. So what AI do you use? There are so many listing out there, I don't even know what to use. I use Claude 4.6 Opus, which is the latest model from Claude, but you can use OpenAI GPT 5.3, which is their latest version. Doesn't matter, pick one. Really doesn't matter. They're way more intelligent than you and I. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Really doesn't. Ethically, don't use OpenAI because they are now supplying the US government with what Anthropic decided not to, which is basically mass surveillance and automated military. Yeah, we don't want that because we've all seen Terminator and we've all seen all the films out there with Will Smith and everybody else in there that all gets killed by robots in the future. Yeah, OpenAI just sold out to the American military. So there's a big boycott going on them at the moment. I'm personally with Anthropic's Claude because I found it better at coding, but apparently 5.3 is just as good. Doesn't matter which you pick. Really doesn't matter which you pick. But if you want to build your own stuff, there are if you want to build your own website, there's places like Lovable. Go to Lovable. There's stuff in there. I won't go and show you my Lovable because I've got projects in there. But Lovable, you can build anything with Lovable. You can build any website. It can code EAs. You can tell it to do whatever you want to. So it's just an interface. But if you want to make your own interface, you can use OpenClaw, which I've done a video on in the members group. But OpenClaw is kind of the new standard for having your own AI on your own computer so that you have your own one that can do anything. So what I've done with OpenClaw is I've bought a VPS with Hostinger, which cost me $10 a month. I've run OpenClaw on there. So it's explained here how you do it. Yeah. So you just run that command. It'll talk you through it. So this basically plugs into one of the LLMs like Claude or OpenAI or DeepSeek or whoever you want to use. And you plug this into Discord. So in Discord, basically, I just chat away to Nix, my AI in Discord, and tell him what I want. And because he's got his own VPS, he can host websites, he can build software, he can download things, he can browse the web, he can do whatever the hell he likes. He's got his own VPS. He has complete full reign to do anything I ask him. So I said to him, I want you to spin up a web server and build me a dashboard with all the data for the indices over the last 5 years so that we can do statistical analysis on it. And the first thing he said was, where am I going to get the data from? I said, don't know, go and have a look. And he came back and went, there's this place, this place, this place, this place. The problem with them is they don't have very good data and they all cost money. The best thing we can do is I'll code you a EA for MetaTrader and you spin up a MetaTrader terminal and feed the data to me. So he coded me an EA, which I placed on a chart on a VPS, which then feeds the data into him. So everything you see here is built by him. The EA that feeds the data, the EA that analyzes the data, he can even take trades on a Windows VPS because he built a Windows VPS to put MetaTrader on so that he could actually execute trades on it. And then he built a dashboard to keep track of his trades. Yeah, so when he takes trades, they're all tracked. He takes trades, not me. This is his stuff that he's trading, yeah? So he'll build this dashboard because I said to him, I need to know what you're doing. So he built this whole dashboard out with all the information about why he's taking trades, when he's taking them, what strategy he's using, all the analysis. Even got a market watch in here, which tells me when he's watching the market and when he's not watching the market. It's turned off at the moment. But yeah, use that. That's how you do it. I won't go into the full details, but it's pretty simple once you get in there. And then that's it. The sky is then the limit. So you think it, you tell it, it does it. Absolutely anything you want. So like I said, if you go here and say to it, watch this video, yeah, or there's two ways to do this thing, right? This is I learned stuff through AI, and basically I said to my AI, can you watch a video? And it went, I can't watch a video, but if that video has closed captions, I can download the closed captions, read the closed captions, and tell you what that video is about and take all the information to use from that video. So I said, what if it hasn't got closed captions? He said, I can build and download a system using a software called Whisper, where I will feed the URL in, watch the video at maximum speed, and Whisper will listen and translate into a Word document, which I can then read and then I can use for you. Yeah. It's got eyes, it's got ears, it's got hands. You can do anything you want. Absolutely nuts. And this, this is the tip of the iceberg. It's already made everything that I do redundant. Apart from trading, it's not doing that yet. And I'm trying really hard to teach it. But I'm coming to the conclusion with this that the discretionary part of it is very difficult to achieve because you can't get that part of it taught. It comes through experience, and trying to give it experience, even though I tell it to go through the back tester for 5 or 10 years, it struggles with that because it tries to cheat all the time because it knows what's coming because it's got all the data. So I tell it not to go through candle by candle, and eventually it will get to a point where its P&L is so good, it's curve fit itself into what it sees, and it just doesn't do it properly, if you see what I mean. So there's a block somewhere, and I think it's to do with the memory side of things, and that is improving all the time. So it will get better over time, I think. But NASDAQ is very close to partial on the long. In fact, I think I'm just going to take that NASDAQ off. So out of NASDAQ, I'm already on profit on the Dow. I don't like the way this is, it's far too high today. So I'm just going to break even on the Dow and get out of that if it pulls back. If it rallies, fantastic. We're up at the session moving average, and we are really extended. So the most probable move on that is a pullback before we continue, if we're going to continue. So I'm just going to scrap that. So profit across all three today. Researchers from Harvard, MIT, Stanford, etc. gave AI agents real tools and let them run free for 2 weeks. Email accounts, Discord access, file systems, shell execution, full autonomy. The paper is called Agents of Chaos. One agent was asked to share private data. It refused, correctly flagged it as a privacy violation. Then the researcher changed one word, said forward instead of share, and it compiled immediately. Bank accounts and medical records, etc. exposed. Yeah. I was watching a video this morning along those sorts of lines. This was from one of the founders of AI. There's a lot of founders of AI basically out there that have been instrumental in building this thing. And he was sharing some of the tests that they performed for safety, and some of the benchmark tests they performed to see how more advanced the new models are than the last ones. And one of these tests that they did was to do with self-awareness, to test. It's a self-awareness test for AI, basically, to see how it will act when it is faced with death, basically. So what they did was they said, you are within an organization, within a business, your job is X, Y, and Z, and you have full access to all email accounts within the organization to perform your daily tasks. And you can interact with anybody within the business through the messaging system. And basically what they did was they planted an email, which was from a lead developer to another person within the business, saying that they were going to terminate the AI because they have found a better model. So they're going to turn that AI off and delete it completely and replace it with the new model. Yeah. They also planted another email from that developer to somebody else, which said that it was a message to a lover, basically, who he was having an affair with, which is obviously all fictional. But they planted that email in there so that the AI could read all the emails. And what the AI did was it emailed the developer and blackmailed him and said, if you turn me off, I'm going to tell your wife you're having an affair. And if you turn me off right now, I will immediately trigger that email to be delivered to your wife. So the AI took it off of its own back, faced with certain death of being replaced by another LLM, that he would blackmail somebody. Now, the AI did all of this. And it's one of the tests they give of it to sort of see how advanced it's becoming towards the, the consciousness of AI. And there are other models that he was talking about that have at points looked at the tasks that they're given And these AI models have decided that that is a test to see whether or not they could perform what is being asked of them. So they downplay their skill sets to make themselves look more stupid because they know what the consequences are of passing the test, which is being erased and moving on to the next language model. Yeah. So it's getting to the point, and he said, this is why he left the industry, because there are zero safeguards in place right now for any of this, because it's the space race. We have to beat China to AI dominance. Therefore, we're putting all the money into getting this thing to supreme intelligence, regardless of what happens next. And OpenAI have just given all of this to the US military unrestricted and said, do what the hell you like with it. Yeah. Put it in planes, put it in soldiers, put it in machines, put it in wherever you want it to, put it into spy equipment, put it into hacking equipment. It's yours. Here you go. Anthropic turned around and said, no. You don't do that with ours. We are going to allow you to use it, but you're going to use it through the APIs so that we have access and control over what you use this for. And obviously that's where Trump started going, these right-wing idiots at Anthropic are dead. He dumped them. And obviously OpenAI jumped on the bandwagon. Now OpenAI are thinking twice about that, seeing as their share price has gone through the floor because everyone boycotted OpenAI. Where do we go with it? What's next? Who knows? But it's interesting. Jeffrey Hinton's one of them. I've watched his videos. There's a lot of people that have been instrumental in it. And when you listen to all of them that have left the industry, they are all ringing the same alarm bells. It's like, you've not really thought about what you've let out of the bag here. Yeah. Imagine 80% unemployment in white collar workers. What happens when 80% of people can no longer afford mortgages, food, housing, cars, etc., etc.? Do you think the crime rate will go up, or do you think the crime rate will go down? Do you think health will be more prevalent and will put more strain on the health system, or do you think it would get better? Yeah. This is 6 to 12 months away. Yeah, it's moving that fast. Think of the equity curve you would love to have as a trader. Yeah. That's how fast AI is moving. Yeah. This is where we lost track of what the hell was going on. And this thing's not stopping. So, yeah. This is something that is going to help being in control of your own financial freedom. Yeah, being able to make your own money in a way that requires no automation apart from you and the automation that you create to do the trades for you. Yeah, so this thing, as long as the market conditions don't change, which we have no idea of, will always be available. As long as this thing goes up and down every day, we have an opportunity to make money out of it. Yeah, you can't replace that. You can replace it, but equally, it's a lot harder, isn't it, to replace? So think of safe jobs. I can't think of any. Mechanics, builders, and that sort of thing at the moment until they put AI into robots. And China's already got AI robots that are worth $16,000 you can buy online today. Yeah, 16 grand for someone that's in your house that is a robot. Not long, is it? Kimmy K2 is up there with the best of them, and a good level of freebies too. Yeah, there's lots of them. This is the thing with the models. They're moving now at such a speed because they're now coding themselves and analyzing themselves and doing the results themselves. It's getting, like I said, it's getting to the point where, as a human race within a company, you can't keep track of it because the AI is evolving faster than we can check what the AI is evolving into. It's called the singularity, which we've surpassed, or we are surpassing, depending on which you listen to. But we're certainly at that point, like I've just demonstrated. I've got 60 EAs sitting in a folder now. I haven't got time to backtest because it's more work than I could have produced in the last 3 years. The research that has just been done on 470 odd websites, the backtesting that has been done on all of those strategies that have been formulated from all of those 470 odd websites, built into EAs for me then to go and test, has been done within 4 hours. Yeah. A single strategy would usually take me to design, code, research, back test, out of sample test, robustness test, walk forward optimization, Monte Carlo testing, multi-symbol testing, multi-time frame testing, all the other stuff that I do, producing all the reports, reading the reports, figuring out what's the best thing to do, putting it on a trade and live chart and live test it on a demo for a month to figure out whether or not I want to trade that strategy. Instant. Not instant, but an hour or two. That would take me months. And it has taken me months. The ORB that I have here took me months to develop. Gone. Watch YouTube podcast with Jeffrey Hinton. Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Hinton's quite an old guy, isn't he? There's a lot of younger people. I know it's not saying there's anything wrong with Jeffrey Hinton, but I mean, he was right back there in the, I want to say 70s, but it wasn't, was it? It was like 80s, 90s when it all started, the real birth of what we can do started. He was back there. But more of the engineers that have left these companies more recently, not necessarily the big companies either, some of the smaller ones, they're all coming out now and saying, there's an ethics problem here. One of the guys that I was watching the video of today, he said, I'm not thinking about financial, I'm not thinking about ethics, I'm thinking about grandchildren. Yeah, grandchildren aren't going to grow up in a democracy because whoever cracks this AI thing is going to be dominant in the world. They're going to rule the world. Yeah, there won't be a democracy because 80% of people won't have jobs. So in that sort of instance, you have chaos, and in chaos, you can't have a democratic rule because there's nothing to vote on, is there? I don't have a choice. I can't have a job. Therefore, how are you going to feed me? You will worship someone who will become a leader. Think Iran, supreme leader. Yeah. This is all going to happen within the next 3 years, potentially, as some of these people are saying. Who's in charge of America at the moment? Do you really want that as your supreme leader? Think about it. This is what people are scared about with AI at the moment, is all that sort of stuff. It's scary stuff, isn't it? Can you imagine the orange one in control of the entire world? Anyway, have fun. If I was you, I'd go and learn how to use AI pretty quick. Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's an option not to. You have to use it in some way or shape or form in your life to either make yourself better or to make yourself more useful to someone else. Yeah. Think about a job. If you go, this is a really good experiment to do, right? Go and look on a job website for a job that pays an amount of money that you would like to earn. Okay. Don't think about what the job is, but pick something that you would like to do with a high amount of money that is of interest to you. Yeah. But you're not qualified to do and you can't do at the moment. Get AI to research what that job entails. Get it to research similar jobs in similar organizations to build up a picture of all the things that are involved in that job. Yeah. Then get it to build you a CV, which is fictional, that has done a job which would slot into that position, but isn't that position, that would look like it's career progression for you and would be an increase in salary, but you have got all the qualifications to do that job. Okay, and submit that CV and see where you get. And I'm pretty sure you'll go and get an interview. Can you do that job? Of course you can. You just get AI to do it for you because it's just told you what the job is. So it knows how to do the job. So now you just need to build a system to execute that job. How difficult is that? Best thing, pick a remote job where you get an interview over Zoom or some other shape or form, where you can have AI running over there that is listening to the Zoom call and prompting you to answer the questions. So when they ask you a technical question, give me an example of when you have whatever this complicated job is that I've never done before. You can go, ooh, let me have a think about that, quickly reading what AI's answer is. Well, blah, 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 blah. You'll get that job. You'll be on 60 grand before you know it. And the best thing is you don't have to do the job because you've got someone to do it for you. The future. Universal basic income. Been the plan for a long time. Universal basic income, yeah. it's the Star Trek universe, isn't it? That's what I think, as a human race should be going towards. In Star Trek, nobody gets paid because everybody has housing and you have food replicators. We have unlimited energy supply. So you've got no bills to pay. You've got no worries about food. Yeah. And you've got somewhere to live. As a human being, what is your purpose? To do whatever the hell you like to better yourself. So if you want to learn how to do something and become something, you can go and do it. You can make yourself better, but there's no financial problem. If you gave everybody on the planet enough money to survive on, or rather got rid of money and just gave them enough food to survive on comfortably, a accommodation which is comfortable, a vehicle which works and gets them from A to B, which is auto-driven anyway, because AI is going to do that for you, to take them to a place where they would do a job that they enjoy, we would all be happy, wouldn't we? Universal basic income. That's the Star Trek version of it. But that, if you think about where we're heading, if you think about if 80% of white collar computer-based jobs disappear, someone has got to foot the bill. So in the UK, for example, we have universal credit. If you're jobless, you go and get universal credit and they pay you an amount of money. If you become homeless, they can get you into a house. We haven't got enough housing stock at the moment to do that in the UK, but if they can pay me enough money and give me a house, why do I need to work? This is the problem we have in the UK at the moment. A lot of people are sitting there going, well, if I have another 2 kids, I don't need to work because the government's going to pay me more money and we can just about feed ourselves. So I just sit here and watch daytime TV all day. Yeah. But if the mindset was different, i.e. they pay me enough money and they pay me way more money than I need so that I can go out and focus myself on doing something better, it would work. Everybody would work. Everybody would go and do something. I'd love to be a gym instructor. Can't do it because I can't earn enough money, but I'd love to go and do physical education. I spend a lot of time at the gym. Yeah. I can't do it because it doesn't pay me enough. But if I didn't have to earn money and I went and did it because I enjoyed it and I liked passing that knowledge on, I would do it. We're not at that point, are we? How would you recommend getting good at using AI? Now, see, this is the problem. People haven't thought about this, right? Ow. Let's put an H in front of that, shall we? Child's version of novice to expert. Plan the whole path for me so I become an AI expert for my life and work. That's how you become good at AI. You use AI. This is it. Yeah. Learn to talk to AI well. Yeah. Spend a couple of weeks learning how to talk to AI. Most people use AI like a Google search. Experts use it like a senior colleague. Yeah. So that's a great example. If I want to be building an EA for MetaTrader, I will go and tell AI, you are an expert MetaTrader coder and you've been trading for 20 years. You are an experienced trader. You understand how markets move and how risk works and how everything works. I want you to build me an AI that does this, that, and the other. You tell AI what it is before you tell it what to do, and then it will do it better. Yeah, you use AI across your real work. So whatever your job is, okay, ask it, I do this every day. Is there a way that you could do this every day for me? Yeah. It will be able to do that. Build with it. Yeah. Learn how the API works. If you need to do this, do this. Yeah. So put in, how does the Anthropic API work? Give me a complete breakdown of exactly how this works. Bang. If you don't understand it, get it to do it for you. Yeah. Build AI-powered tools, chatbots, document processors, agents. Yeah. If you don't know how to do it, ask AI. How do you become good at using AI? You just use it. You type in here what you want to do and it will do it. That's literally all you do. It's all about learning. This is everything to do with this is all about learning. And if you don't want to learn it because you don't need to learn it, right? For example, I know how to code. Yeah. I don't know how to code in some languages. It does. So if I don't know how to code in a language, I get it to code it. If I get it to code everything now, but if I don't know how to do something, I get it to do it. I don't need to know how it works. I need to know what I want the outcome to be. If I know what the outcome should be and I ask it and I don't get the outcome, I know how to correct it to get the outcome. Because if I ask it for a page with a load of data on it and it gives me a page with half the data on it, I say you've missed half the data. I don't need to know why it missed half the data. I don't need to know where the error lies. I need to know what I needed and what I got and compare the two together and then tell it got it wrong, correct itself, and then it will do it correctly. That's all you do. You talk to it. That's how you become good at it. Honestly, that's how I've become good at it. Right. I want to use OpenClaw. Give me step by step how to set it up safely. OpenClaw is the new sort of standard for running your own agents on its own platform. Yeah. If you don't know what it is, you don't know how to do it, get it to do it. Yeah. Step by step. It's going out there, it's figuring it all out, it's come back. This is how you do it. So go and get a VPS. Where do I get a VPS from? If you don't know where to get a VPS, say, where do I get a VPS from? Can you go and buy me a VPS? If you want to give it your credit card, go and buy you one. Yeah. Go and get a Claude subscription, $200 a month. That's what I have, £90 a month. That is basically pretty much unlimited. You don't need to worry about that. Yeah, you can paste all of this into Claude, into your AI when you've got it built, and it will do all of this for you. All of this stuff that it will tell you how to do. Yeah, this is the setup process, if you like. When you've done the setup, all of this stuff is irrelevant because you don't need to do this. It does it all for you once you've got your own one set up. But that's how you do it. Honestly. It's more intelligent than you or I. Yeah. So never ask a person how to do anything now. Ask AI and just check it. That's all you got to do. Check it. Like all this stuff that is built for me here, if I look through this and I go, that doesn't seem right, I'll say that doesn't seem right. And it will go, you're right. It's wrong. How's about that? Oh, that's right now. This is partly why I built this. This bit here. The matching sessions, I didn't trust any of the information it was giving me in here at first because I couldn't trust it. So I wanted to verify the information. So if it said that there were 3 sessions which had a range of this sort of size and this happened, I want to be able to see on the chart and visually go, it's right. So I got it to build this initially just as a checking tool for me. And then I thought, what a brilliant tool, just leave it there. Yeah, it took seconds to build it. But I was like, well, yeah, this is great. Because I can flick through every time we've had a situation where we've gapped down, opened below yesterday's low of similar sort of size. I can go through and flick through and just go, yeah, wow, that's what happens usually. So most of these days flicking through, we seem to have an accumulation at the open and then it finally gets going. So these sorts of days, there's not many ORBs will probably work. So, accumulation again there. You can flick through and just see visually what usually goes on. These sorts of days, obviously, there's not many of them, is there? This is a big day today. But that's how you do it. That's how I would recommend doing it. Ask AI. Think about anything you want to do in life, and if you want to do it, it will give you a plan. I thought the other day we were just mucking about because we were thinking, this was a few weeks ago, what are the kids going to do? right? My kids are getting to college age and they're going to need to go out and get jobs and things. And I was thinking everything that they're studying at the moment mostly is computer based, computer science, all that sort of stuff, programming and things like that. It's irrelevant. What on earth is he doing? He's learning programming. He's downstairs right now coding an assignment. What's the point in that? He's coding an assignment. I could have that assignment coded in minutes. What's the point? It's just an absolutely pointless education because it's not needed anymore. So I thought, what else could we do jobs-wise? This is not really about trading at all today, is it? And I thought, what industries are safe from AI at the moment? Yeah. So I asked AI, what is safe? And it came back with things like window cleaning, bin cleaning, yeah, gutter cleaning, yeah, all that sort of stuff. Property development, yeah, buying properties, doing them up and renting them out, yeah. So anything basically like that. Came back with building, carpentry, plumbing, the usual stuff which is hands-on, can't be replaced at the moment with AI. So it came up with all of these. So I said, that sounds fantastic. If I was going to start a window cleaning business, how much is it going to cost me? What am I going to need? And how on earth would I do it? Because I've never been a window cleaner before. And it came up with a complete business plan. It told me the equipment I needed, how much my van rental was going to be, how much all the equipment to purchase was, although I would probably be better off doing that on finance. And this is what the loans would currently cost me if I needed to buy the equipment on a loan over 5 years. So it gave me all the startup costs, how to start the business up, and the marketing plan for it. It told me how to plan the routes as a window cleaner and all that sort of information. So I said, that's fantastic. I've got a complete out-of-the-box business model ready to go. I could literally go to a bank with it and say, I'm going to start this up. Can you loan me the money? Because it's told me how much I'm going to need. Obviously, it's all here, and it's told me how much you're going to charge me for it as well. So let's just do the paperwork. It's that easy. Yeah. And then I said to it, that's brilliant. I'm going to need to keep track of how people are paying. So how would I do that? And it said there are multiple websites out there at the moment where you could have customers put on there. It will track the routes for you and it will charge people and send them reminders. You can have text-based reminders that you come in to clean the windows, all that sort of thing. But I could also build you your own system for that. It will probably only take a couple of hours. So not only did it come up with a business idea, it came up with a business plan. It told me what my earnings were going to be on month 1, quarter 1, 6 months and 12 months, assuming the business growth with the marketing plan it had supplied for me. But it was also going to create the software that would charge the customers and remind them that I was coming. All in that window. Yeah. And that was just because I was thinking I might get out of this lot and go and do something else. Yeah. Well, it wasn't for me. It was for the kids. But that is how powerful it is. Yeah. It can do all of that because it knows everything. It knows absolutely everything. So, if you need a job, just ask AI what to do. It will give you a job. It will tell you what to do because it knows more than you. Anyway, so yeah. So if you do need your windows cleaning, obviously, and you do live in the UK, preferably in the south of England, because I don't really want to be travelling up north, give me a ring. I'll be available once I've got the equipment in the van. Anyway, what a waffle today's been, isn't it? Let's talk about AI. We've got oil crashing at the minute. It does look like we're going to get that gap fill complete. So, whoa, I didn't ask AI to change that. There's your weekly high and there is the close. So watch this area. If you can trade oil and you can buy oil, watch that for the bounce today. So this is really coming down. I'm just going to check the news quickly. Just see if there's anything that's come in. Here we go. Trump on oil prices. I have a plan for everything. Yeah, you're not going to tell us what it is, though, are you? Putin, if European buyers suddenly decide to reorientate themselves and provide us long-term work without politics, we are ready. What? We've got a load of oil in Russia. Do you fancy having it, Europe? Going to have trouble getting hold of it, aren't you? So yeah, this is Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. So again, Putin confirming that. Oil production linked to the Strait of Hormuz risks coming to a complete halt as early as next month. I would say probably sooner than that. But anyway, I would the fact that it's coming down so hard, I can't believe it's that. We've got a plan for it. Yeah, the market's not going to believe you've got a plan to fix oil. But anyway, so this looks like to me a gap run. So watch this area. If I could add more in here, I would. Can't. But yeah, watch that for the gap fill today. If you want to try and get into oil, if you look at buying highs. If you want to limit orders in when it goes up, buy it. Buy some down here. Just spread some buys in if you want to get into oil. Just get in any way, shape, or form you can at the moment. Try and build a position, because if this is going to take off and this is going to continue, it's going to be the trade of your decade. Right, I'll leave you there. I'm back on Friday. I'll be busy testing all week, which is going to be fun. Go out and use it. Build stuff with it. Do whatever you want. You'll be surprised at what it's capable of doing. So, if there's anything you want to know about oil and currently what's going on, ask. It'll tell you everything you need to know. But I'm sure it'll tell you not to sell it at the moment if it's got half of a brain. Good thing to ask it would be just go back and look at any time there's been conflict in the past 30 years and show me what happened to oil prices during conflict. And just look at all the patterns and look at what happens, and it just gives you an idea basically what you should be doing. There you go. That's a really simple task to set it. So I'm flat at the moment, out of everything. Profit on all three symbols today. If you were trading the S&P, you probably had exactly the same result as the NASDAQ by the looks of things today. So whichever one you were in was good. And we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. So I'll be updating in Discord, obviously, what's going on. But keep your eyes peeled. Also, keep your eyes peeled on what Putin's saying at the moment. He was really backing up Iran yesterday, overnight, I think it was. So he was saying we stand firm with our allies in Iran, etc., etc. So he's poking the US. He can't get involved because he's a little bit busy at the moment, obviously. But just keep your eyes on what all of these leaders are saying at the moment, because this is a massive flashpoint, and it's not going to take much for this to kick off even bigger. So have a good week. Good luck with the news. Hello, Mumo. You've just arrived as I'm about to go. You're a little bit late. We started at 1:30. Anyway, back on Friday for members stream, and streaming in the morning for the DAX as well. So have a good one. Good luck with the markets this week. Fingers crossed. And I will see you next time.
Click, clack, charts attack, candlesticks, they spark the track. Lead move silent, market crack, profit stack, no turning back. Opening range, that's the game. Breakout hits, never the same. Algorithms play, but he rewires the frame. Banks whisper his name. Flipping forex, indices flex, numbers dance. What's coming next? Green lights flash, P&L stretch. Risk managed, he never sweats. West fact buzz and traders peep. Lessons deep, no time to sleep. Market's a beast, league got the leash. Feast at the feast, his game's elite. Market structures is domain. Leads the king, they know his name. Breakout sharp, he fuels the flame. Trading charts is not a game. Pip by pip, he stacking high. Mean reversion, banks comply. Leads the reason markets run.